Dustin the Diamond Poirier is a force to be reckoned with in the heart of the octagon.
There it is! Dustin Poirier! Welcome back to 155!
Oh, again with that left. Dustin Poirier with the finish!
Dustin the Diamond Poirier finishes Diego Brandao!
He's established himself as one of the best and most entertaining fighters in the UFC. But it's the journey that led him there that truly captivates the MMA world. Let's quickly dive into his background. And trust me, it's not what you think. Dustin Poirier was born on January 19, 1989, in Lafayette, Louisiana. Standing at 5 foot 9 inches tall, he spent much of his career fighting at 155 pounds. From a young age, Poirier had an interest in martial arts and started training in boxing and wrestling. As a 10-year-old kid, he was the undisputed street boxing champion of his neighborhood, and even beat up a 15-year-old so badly he wound up in juvenile court. He attended Northside High School for a short time, but dropped out in the 9th grade because he was repeatedly getting into fights. At this time, he weighed 200 pounds and cared mostly about partying. That was until his future wife, Jolie, entered the picture. At age 18, she drove him 6 hours from Louisiana to Arkansas for his first amateur fight and has been in his corner ever since. The early stages of his career were captured by the popular 2011 documentary Fightville, which followed Poirier and a handful of other Lafayette area fighters as they attempted to battle their way out of their hard luck backgrounds. By 21, he put up a 6-0 pro record and won a regional title in Louisiana. So let's dive into his early career. He's been signed with UFC since 2011. But his professional MMA career dates back to 2009, when he first appeared in the USA MMA promotion. In 2010, he earned his first contract with the UFC-owned World Extreme Cage Fighting organization. In his second fight, he knocked out Zach Mickelwright in just 57 seconds. So let's talk about his time in the UFC. After the UFC-WEC merger, newly crowned UFC featherweight champion Jose Aldo was set to make his first defense at UFC 125. Aldo had to withdraw due to a back injury, and Poirier made his octagon debut on short notice against top featherweight contender Josh Grisby. He brutalized Grisby for 15 minutes en route to an upset unanimous decision win. After defeating Jason Young and Pablo Garza, a match against Max Holloway was in store. Poirier defeated Holloway in the first round with a triangle armbar. He then got his first headline against the Korean Zombie. Although Jung defeated Poirier via Darce choke in the 4th round, it was honored as Fight of the Year by many. He gained more attention with his win over Akira Kurosani, which ultimately set up his first fight against Conor McGregor. He lost the fight by TKO in the 1st round. This was the first time Poirier was stopped by strikes. Poirier admitted this loss broke him, and he subsequently transferred up to the lightweight division. Poirier faced Carlos Diego Ferreira in his first lightweight bout. He won the fight via knockout in the 1st round. He defeated Yancy Medeiros, Joe Duffy, and Bobby Green before headlining his second main event at UFC Fight Night 94. Poirier faced Michael Johnson and lost the fight via 1st round knockout. The following year, he got his 3rd chance at a main event. At UFC Fight Night 120, Poirier won the fight via TKO after Pettis tapped out due to a broken rib, when Poirier applied a body triangle in the 3rd round. Poirier TKO'd Justin Gaethje at UFC on Fox 29, before facing Eddie Alvarez in a rematch at UFC on Fox 30. He won the fight via TKO in the 2nd round. Leading up to the Holloway rematch, Poirier was once again a slight underdog. It didn't matter that he'd most recently beat 3 former champions in a row. After a 25-minute slugfest in Atlanta, Poirier claimed the interim title and handed Holloway his first loss since 2013. Coming off the high of the Holloway victory, Poirier was slated to fight Khabib Nurmagomedov, though Khabib's wrestling game and subsequent top control proved to be too overwhelming for Poirier. He bounced back against Dan Hooker in what was one of the greatest fights of his career. After a unanimous decision win by Hooker, Poirier would have back-to-back fights against McGregor. At UFC 257, Poirier won the fight via TKO on the 2nd round, becoming the first person to defeat McGregor by knockout in an MMA bout. And in their 3rd fight 6 months later, this happened. Yeah, that had to hurt. while his bid at UFC 269 for the UFC Lightweight Championship against Charles Oliveira ended in defeat, Poirier rebounded in 2022 with a submission win over Michael Chandler at UFC 281. Now let's take a brief look at his contracts and earnings. For his first UFC fight against Josh Grisby, Poirier was paid $8,000, though he gradually earned more money as his career progressed. After the Pettis fight, Poirier signed a new contract with UFC, even though he had 3 fights remaining on his previous contract. His next fight against Gaethje would net him $240,000. Poirier revealed in an interview that he signed an 8-fight deal with the UFC at the start of 2021. 3 weeks later, he had his first $1 million payday at UFC 257, which netted him $1,070,000. But this is nothing compared to his third fight against McGregor. At UFC 264, Poirier earned a base salary of $1.5 million and an additional $3.6 million in pay-per-view bonuses for a total fight pay of $5.1 million. It was the second most watched UFC fight of all time. For comparison, McGregor earned $23 million for the same fight. But fighting is not the only way he makes money. He also founded Cajun hot sauce brand Poirier's Louisiana Style, as well as releasing his own bourbon, Rare Stash. He's also sponsored by Timex, Celsius, and Robert Graham. So now that we know how much he makes, how does he spend all his cash? The UFC lightweight is known for his tattoos and actually got his first one at the age of 14. Now he's got 27 of them. He's also got quite the car collection. He owns a Ferrari 458 Italia, which goes for $270,000. And he also owns a Cadillac CT6 and C8 convertible for a total car collection price of $430,000. And in 2021, he purchased this luxurious Louisiana home for $1.4 million. And he owns a vacation home in Florida. Poirier likes to give back and founded the Good Fight Foundation, which gives back to underserved communities. But let's talk about some moments that caused some waves in Poirier's career. But first, if you're liking this video, hit that subscribe button and tell us which fighter we should cover next. After UFC 257, McGregor was scheduled to donate $500,000 to the Good Fight Foundation. Later on, Poirier stated that the donation had never been made. McGregor replied by defending himself and pleading that he was doing his due diligence on the charity before sending over any money. However, the accusation angered McGregor, and he scrapped their scheduled trilogy. Shortly after, Poirier apologized for making the incident public, and McGregor then coughed up the donation, and just like that, the fight was back on. Time to talk about his personal life. Dustin met Jolie back in high school, and they got married in 2009. In 2016, they had their first and only child. Poirier used to train at Gladiators Academy under retired MMA fighter Tim Krieger. He decided to move to American Top Team in Coconut Creek, Florida, and he now trains with coach Phil DeRue. He typically starts training camp weighing in at 185 pounds and cuts down to 155 the week of the fight. Now at this point, you probably want to know his net worth. As we mentioned before, Poirier's paydays keep getting bigger, so we're sure his net worth is going to rise. Having said that, his total career earnings to date are $10,230,700, and he has amassed a total net worth of $4 million. Thanks for watching.